Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to the start of a brand new Road to. We're getting the last round of Ethan Hunt. He's got time for one more round. It is the road to Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And it's time to take a look at a franchise that I've been itching to cover for a very long time. In my opinion, the most consistent franchise going today, Mission Impossible. There's not a bad one in the bunch, and even the bad one is still a lot of fun. But over the coming month of May, I will be covering every Mission Impossible film, and this Road to is particularly lucky in that I have a guest for every single one of them. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But let's kick things off with the one that started it all, Mission Impossible 1.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
This was released in 1996. It was directed by Brian De Palma, who had directed Dressed to Kill, Carrie, among other things. And it is based on the legendary TV show of the same name. And joining me to kick off this series is my Friday show partner, Russell. Russell, how are you?
Good, man. Looking forward to talking about this film. When you came at me with the idea of doing that and you were like, how about the first one? I'm like, yeah, because truth be told, I had not seen the first one until this review. When I started seeing these movies in the theaters, that was with Mission Impossible 2. Obviously, with the Metallica, I Disappear, and take a look around. Limp Bizkit, that's a great soundtrack, by the way. Phenomenal soundtrack. I know the movie gets a lot of flack, but I enjoyed it. Kind of what you said. This franchise has spawned for almost 30 years and has been consistent. You know, every single movie has been action-packed. And just when you think they can't up the ante anymore, Tom Cruise just finds a way to just stun you.
I swear, Tom Cruise takes it as a personal challenge to threaten his life in every single movie that he does. Like, even in MI2, he nearly lost an eye. Like, the scene where the knife comes that close to his eye, that was a real knife. That was his real eye. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Or well, when I get there anyway. But let's get into Mission Impossible 1. And I feel like these early Mission Impossible movies, 1, 2, and 3, inadvertently kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit because everything from Ghost Protocol up to Dead Reckoning is so good that everyone just forgets that 1, 2, and 3 are at worst enjoyable and at best really good. I mean, Mission Impossible 1 was directed by Brian De Palma. He's no hack. Yeah. And even if you take into account he was off of his prime, he wasn't doing stuff like Carrie or Blowout or anything like that, he was still really good at his job in the mid-90s.
Yeah. And then, follow that up. Obviously, you'll talk about the next one with John Woo. I mean, obviously, master of his craft too. And, cinema in China, Japan, so that's crazy in itself too. So they've always got heavy hitters to direct their films. And this one is, no slouch either. De Palma's always put out good work. I even think didn't he do, I think obviously Black Dahlia comes out. Didn't he do Black Dahlia? Yeah.
I believe
in 2000 in the mid 2000s, I believe. And then he did the Untouchables. So he the guy works and he puts out good work. So, and to kick this off, this is crazy that I was shocked. Honestly, I was shocked that Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
That he was in this.
I mean, this movie is a bit of a time capsule in that just the people that were in it, but also are still in it, and then people that made a one and done and then never return. Now, Emilio Estevez's character, Jack, he ends up dying. So there's a good reason why he never showed up again.
But he's then, 20 minutes.
Then you got Ving Rhames, who has, with the exception of 2 and 4, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, with the exception of 2 and 4, has been in every Mission Impossible film. So, Vanessa Redgrave is in this movie. Henry Czerny, who started out as Kittredge, but came back as Kittredge. So, this is a bit of a revolving door. The main villain in this movie is John Voight, which, I mean, just this movie's crazy in that it captures like it's aged well and not so well in the casting department because you see it and you just go, wow, that guy's been around a while. But then it's like, oh, well, enjoy them while they last because they're not going to be around for long.
Yeah, and then he was fresh a year off of Heat. So he was working a lot. I mean, obviously Voight's been working, in cinema for a long time, but like in the 90s, he was popping up quite a bit. And yeah, there are some moments where you're like, wow, but overall, I mean, I think the film shot pretty well, especially that train scene is really filmed really, really well. For 30 years.
I wanted to bring up that if you think this is a Brian De Palma film, you are absolutely correct in that there are split diopter shots and Dutch angles, and De Palma's fingerprints are all over this one in the best ways possible. Like the scene where Hunt and Kittredge have that back and forth in the restaurant where Hunt says, Kittredge, I don't think you've ever seen me very upset. Like that whole line, that could have been so simple. It could have been so straightforward. Could have been just like one camera pointed directly at them, but no, it's like Battlefield Earth style Dutch angles. And I'm like, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying De Palma didn't have to go that hard, but I'm so glad that he did.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you get directors like De Palma that put their fingerprints on these types of films, it's always good to see what they specialize in, the majority of their films. So to see that, it adds more, and I think it obviously adds more suspense to the film too. That whole entire dialogue in the restaurant, I think that builds up a little bit more of the, how badass Ethan Hunt really is.
But I do appreciate how you can watch this movie nowadays and like whether you watch it in 96 or now, and a lot of it has carried over. Like it has the basic template of what a Mission Impossible movie looks like. You've got the message and then this will self-destruct in 5 seconds. In this version, it's the form of a cassette tape because the 90s, you see, that Jim Phelps listens to and it goes like I thought that was pretty cool. And then you get disguises and you get, most crucially of all, Tom Cruise doing something very dangerous for the entertainment of us, and we cannot thank him enough. And this is a good place as any to transfer into the Langley sequence. And I've seen this movie a bunch of times, and I can confirm that every time I see it, my hands get clammy, I start to sweat, I get goosebumps, because literally it's Ethan Hunt suspended like this. Jean Reno holding on to him for dear life. They cannot make a sound in this room. They cannot, like, even a drop of sweat will trigger the alarm in this room at the CIA headquarters that only one man can enter, named William Donlow, which it's crazy that they're getting him back for the final movie, but I digress. So it's literally just Ethan Hunt sitting there, hanging there, trying to get this knock list transferred over, and literally he can't even make a sound. So like it's so simple, especially in the context of in Fallout, he's falling out of a plane doing a halo jump. In Ghost Protocol, he's hanging off of the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. So it's not as crazy as the series would get, but at the same time, it's still crazy in its own way. The drop of sweat that lands on his hand, it still gets me every time.
Well, and just I like how De Palma like zooms in on that, so you see that building on his glasses, or you see that you're like, oh crap! Hopefully he sees that sweat. It's like, and then the other sweat ball like rolls down right to the same spot. Definitely, it keeps you on the edge of your seat for sure in that whole entire sequence. And even when the rat's coming down the vent as well, when you're like, oh, what was he doing? Like the rat's going to make noise, and here Jean Reno's like allergic, so he sneezes and. What do you know? Just under the red, or just a little bit over the red, to not where it would trigger off anything. But man, it definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat for sure.
I've seen some pushback in this movie regarding the fact that Jim Phelps was the villain in this movie. However, in the series, he was the hero, and there are some people who didn't really like that decision. I can confidently say that the people who are fans of Mission Impossible nowadays probably haven't seen the show, so it's
Yeah.
a weird thing to be mad about, but c'est la vie, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when the movie started and when that whole sequence happened when he got shot, I kind of already knew. I was like, I think I know where we're going with this, and I was happy that I at least like caught on to it. I've seen enough movies where, you know what, my wife is so good at catching that stuff, though. She is a rock star at catching those types of things. I was happy to catch it because, you know, it just made sense that that's how they were going to go. But then there's always that misdirection, and it gets you, you know, those types of films like this espionage type films always do that. They always do a great job of like kind of like, you know, the Bourne Identity, and there's just all these other types of films that deal with this type of stuff. Always have that, you know, back and forth of like who is it? Like, oh, is it this person and what's not? I appreciate that. It always keeps you guessing, keeps the movie fun, you know.
There's a whole generation of spy movies that just thrive on one rule: keep it moving. Because like
Yeah,
you got the Bourne trilogy. I say
yeah,
trilogy. I know what I said and I'm sticking to it. But like this set of spy movies that just hits the foot on the gas and just does not let up. And really, with the exception of a couple scenes near the beginning where it's like we're laying out the plan, like they're dropping the line of the Drake Hotel Chicago, which is very important for later on down the road, to the mission going completely belly up, to Hunt realizing he's being framed for this whole thing, to
yeah.
going back to the safe house, like dropping the glass on the ground to set up an alarm system to so he can hear if someone's coming, and then him doing the research on the Bible, Job 3:14, and then doing that whole thing. There's not a second wasted in this movie. There is not a single moment where you can really breathe. And even the breathing moments where it's like planning stuff out, like stuff on the train where Ethan is meeting up with Luther Stickle and Jean Reno's character to plan out the Langley heist, and Kristen Scott Thomas's character. I completely forgot to mention her at the top.
Yeah.
Like, she's really good in this too. There's not a moment in the movie where you can truly go like, like you can like pause. The movie pauses because it has to, but it doesn't stop. And I love that. I love the spirit of that.
Yeah, I mean, De Palma shoots this tight at an hour and 45 minutes, and it's real tight. There's not a lot of wasted time. It's very minimal. The movie does fly by rather quickly. Um, and yeah, Kristen Scott Thomas, obviously another, you know, shout out to the 90s when she was doing a lot of work. And it's kind of crazy to see these, you know, actors and actresses come and go throughout the franchise. But no, I think De Palma does a great job doing that. Like I said, you know, this movie could have easily been another extra half hour. If they really wanted to, you know, expand it a little bit more, they could have easily went 210 on this.
The runtime of Final Reckoning, let me just do that because in a group chat that I'm in, someone was talking about it. Final Reckoning is going to be 2 hours and 49 minutes. With
Yeah.
25 minutes of trailers, at least you're in that theater 3 hours plus. Now, I'm not going to sit here and do a rant about movie runtimes. I believe that if your movie should be 2 hours, then you should be fine with that, but just don't waste my time. However, I feel like with Mission Impossible, it's earned the longer runtime for me personally. Like I'll be there with bells on.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, you know, they're long, but they're satisfying. You know, walk in there saying, you know, walk out, and be like, man, I wish, you know, you get your bang for your buck, and that, I mean, so that's always a good thing. Obviously, like Fallout, I remember, you know, Fallout's runtime was a little hefty too, but you know, it was one of those things where it deserved it. You know, it earned it. It also was the end of Movie Pass as we know it, because that's the infamous weekend where all those servers like were all like like kind of crashed for the movie, and then that was like the downfall for Movie Pass.
Just for the sake of context, Fallout was 2 hours and 27.
227.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
So yeah.
to be fair, though, Fallout is one of the best of the series. So
Oh, 100%.
It definitely earned its runtime there. But then, like that entire movie just hit, and I can't wait to get to Fallout here on this series because It's almost my favorite, but there's one that I like just a little bit more. But like everything about that, just that was a golden era of marketing right there. The teaser trailer with Friction by Imagine Dragons. Imagine Dragons gets hate, but you cannot lie. Friction is a great
Oh,
song, and I will
Fr-
not hear anything said negatively about it. That teaser trailer just crushes. I was watching it the other day just to prepare, and I'm like, they don't make teasers like this anymore.
Dude, Imagine Dragons good, man. We saw them in Florida. What was it, in Tampa? We saw them a couple years ago for the Innings Festival. They were there with Dave Matthews Band, Third Eye Blind, Weezer,
Wow.
Pitbull, Mumford, Marcus Mumford. It was good. It was a really, really solid. But yeah,
I gotta tell
anyway,
you, that's at least half my running playlist, Russell.
there you go, man. I got you. So you'd have been
but
perfect, man.
but
Oh, yeah.
anyway, just for the to put the period at the end of the sentence for this one, I'm gonna give it an amazing grade. It's somehow not the best Mission Impossible movie, and these they somehow get better from here because, like I said, 2 is the worst one. However, 3 is mad underrated. 4 is my favorite. Rogue Nation is so good. Like, it has some of the best overall sequences in the series. Fallout is somehow even better than that. And
Yep.
Dead Reckoning is not as good as Fallout, but still really good. So it's like one, and then the rest are outstanding. So
Yeah.
that's a consistent track record right there. I would chalk up Nightmare on Elm Street as being similar to that. Like the only one I don't like is Freddy's Dead. I'm talking about originals. The remake doesn't count. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
originals. But Freddy's
Yeah.
Dead is the bad one, and then the rest are all hits.
You talk
But
about
that's another story for another time. That's for horror movie
Freddie,
iceberg one day.
Freddie number 2. That's the one that always gets the flack. Number 2.
I like it. I like that one just fine.
Two's not bad. Yeah, like you said though, for longevity of a franchise for sure. I mean, you're not going to see, what Mission Impossible's done for 30 years. You might as well say 30, round it. You don't get that a lot. You don't get that a lot in film now. Like you had some you had Men in Black. Obviously, came out the same year.
No, that was a year after.
Or was
This
that
came out in
97? Sorry.
96.
Yeah,
Men in Black came
97.
out in 97.
But what I'm saying is you had Men in Black come out with some films. I think they only had 4, right?
Well,
4.
1,
Yeah.
2, 3,
2,
and
3 and international. Yeah, 4. So I don't even know if you'd count that as a bigger franchise because they really haven't, there was a big gap in between 3 and international. But maybe what, I'll throw out Bad Boys. Bad Boys would be another one I would throw out there for a franchise that has kind of, been from the 90s to present, I would say,
The only one I haven't seen of that is 2. The first one I thought was fine.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, though, like Bad Boys for Life, I walked out of that saying to myself, that had no right being that good. Like
for
that,
sure, yeah.
And Ride or Die was actually enjoyable too. So like talk about a series that just going like just over the years.
See Bad Boys too. Bad Boys is really good, man. Really good. I really enjoyed that one a lot.
That's what Collins keeps telling me, so I'll definitely have to take him up on that. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of Mission Impossible 1? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. And Russell, you're on this channel every Friday, so that's always a great time. But tell the people where they can find you otherwise.
Notorious by Chance. We just released our post-Easter episode on Prince of Egypt. Like I said, it was one of those ones we're a little bit delayed in getting that out. Our next one, we're going to be shooting Friday night, Anora. Keep an eye out open for that. Also, Notorious by Chance on YouTube. Chance and everybody, they just recapped the NFL draft. So if you're a fan of the NFL, check that out. And you guys can also find us. I'm really kind of dormant on TikTok. I'm trying to get back into that. I need to get back into it. That's NBC Podcast and X. I try to post stuff. There's just so many outlets. It's so hard to keep track of everything. But the mainstay, obviously, is Facebook and YouTube.
All right, and all the links will be down below. And a little later on this week, we'll be going back to the year 2000 to take a look at some 2000 movies. And then next week is back to the horror movie Iceberg. But stay tuned for all of that. As far as the road to Mission Impossible Final Reckoning goes, I'll be returning back to the road to take a look at Mission Impossible 2, and I will be joined by my tag team partner, Zach Shelton from Movie Fan Z. So stay tuned for all of that. But for Russell, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one. Y'all take care.